Overcrowded and as loosely controlled as Saigon, it makes doubly hard the task of protecting Americans and their families from an enemy who may strike at any time, any place, anyhow.
With music and news 24 hours a day, this is on radio service Vietnam.
The Civilian Aviation Directorate announced yesterday the Ton Son Airport terminal will henceforth be accessible only to air passengers awaiting flight. The measure was taken at the request of the security authorities. It requires passengers to use cars placed at their disposal by the concerned airline's offices when leaving or entering the airport terminal. Authorities said the regulation would be lifted as soon as security conditions warrant it.
Saigon is the city where the quiet American, if you remember the novel by Graham Greene, was killed. That was about 10 years ago. And since then, a lot of Americans have moved into Saigon, and more have been killed. On the surface now, Saigon looks like an American city, but on the surface only. For it's a town of 3 million people, and the Vietnamese have a very strong sense of national identity. Physically, they look very fragile, but in fact they're amazingly tough, as they've had to be, to survive 20 years of one of the cruelest wars in history. And now this war is moving into the cities. In the past few months there have been 3 terrorist bomb attacks in Saigon, and in the last one 42 people were killed. And now everyone's asking himself, when is the next one going to be?
Only the Viet Cong know the answer, although there are always plenty of rumors. The Viet Cong's secret radio has started warning all Vietnamese who want to stay alive to keep away from the Americans and places frequented by the Americans. This could be bluff, and it's obviously intended to isolate the Americans, but no one doubts the Viet Cong's ability to launch a full-scale terrorist campaign against the Americans inside Saigon at any time they choose. Viet Cong assassins or their informants can move about undistinguished from the other Vietnamese of Saigon. But the most frightening thing about a terrorist campaign, as Palestine or Cyprus showed, is that there's no practical way to stop it, provided the terrorists are prepared to be ruthless. The Viet Cong leave little room for doubt on that score. And when a city is as large, as overcrowded, and as loosely controlled as Saigon, it makes doubly hard the task of protecting Americans and their families from an enemy who may strike at any time, any place, anyhow. The first of the terrorist targets was the American embassy, now rebuilt like a fortress with reinforced walls and hardly any windows. A few months ago, the Viet Cong parked a Citroen car loaded with TNT at its gates. It exploded, damaging the building, killing 13 and wounding scores more. Now, all arriving cars, even embassy ones, are checked for hidden bombs, part of new and stringent security measures. And inside the embassy, the touch of an emergency switch brings a steel barrier down over the new blast-proof glass doors. Darkness gives a misleading sense of security in Saigon. In fact, the ordinary American is wide open to attack as he walks the streets at night, shops for souvenirs, or drinks in one of the scores of little bars that come to life after dusk, and where for a short while he can pretend to forget the war.
Grizzly bear, so like a flying to the air. Wake it in my auntie, bitch, beware. I go insane 'cause they gave me a trail like a tire. Ooh, like a tire. Ooh, you see it's mine when it's right, boy. I want to wow. You give more to feel like king. Floating like on you on a box. Baby, all the time you coming up. I want to get good. I'm your tiger and you're my man. Hurry up, but to get don't you be late. I might give me it's a hand to wave. Come like knock with
The last Viet Cong bomb attack was on a floating restaurant in the